middle of the room they line up. I know they'll. Front of the room's not ready. Someone's leaving a purple pen.
Fine.
Okay.
Right.
And the front of the room. This table over here has left a mess. Smell. Frederick's table has a marker on it. You may open the door. We're not ready to leave yet. There's still some noise. We're not single file. What's the door closed? Just waiting for this line to be single file. That means if you're not behind someone, you're not single file. We can know this. Go to the corner, please. These need to be passed out. Well, I'll be
When are you coming back?
Yeah, I'll tell you. What time do you want me back?
Can you come back at 3:40? Is that too early?
No, perfect time.
Because I do transition for them at 3:45.
Sweet. Not an issue. I'm going to finalize this schedule.
Cool.
And bird. All right. My line is still waiting. Line to face forward.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to walk in. Yes, you'll be doing the same activity your peers did. I've got your do now and your notes before the activity in my hand right now. When you walk in, take a seat, get started right away. There's nothing you need to get talking about so far here. Put your name at the top, please. Okay. You guys, please. Okay. We're not talking when we enter the room. You know, this is not different from when the Sheffield's here. Hayden, don't worry about it. Please get started. Thank you, Esther, for getting started right away. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Westbrook. You're answering those first two questions. Think about what you guys watched in your video yesterday. Johanna, let's get seated, sir. I'll take care of it. You can come on over and get started, please. Yes, sir. You guys can. We'll go over it. Yes. Yes. that up. Number 3 in response to number 2. Another 45 seconds. Alright, let's bring it together. Go ahead and finish up that last thought and then put your pencils down. And I need all eyes up here in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and turn your body on. Alright, can I get a volunteer to read our learning target for today? Off of the paper. It's a little bit different than the one that's up there. Esther, really loud, please.
We'll be able to explore how different forces act on a balloon rocket.
Great. So we're going to talk a little bit. So the things that we're doing today and the things you did yesterday with Miss Sheffield are all connected to a big unit that you guys are going to stop yawning. I need your eyes, sir. Dude, we need to get on it, man. Thank you, sir. All right. So the things that you did yesterday and the things we're doing today are all connected to a much bigger unit you guys are going to start when you get back from holiday break. Okay? So you guys are actually going to be doing a pretty fun activity. And we're going to start building that activity today. And then tomorrow you're going to have an opportunity to finish it. And then you guys will be able to, well, play with rockets. So, can I get a volunteer to read that first question for the Duno? Loud, Caleb.
What is work?
What is work? Who's got a good answer for me? Who's got a good answer for me? Go for it.
Force times distance.
Force times distance. That is not a wrong answer. Someone push it further. It's not a wrong answer. It's a good answer. But I want to know what that means. What does it mean? Force times distance. Go, sir. What's that? Distance used by Newton. Still not a wrong answer. But what does it mean that work is force times distance? We got to think about it. What does that mean? Go for it. The effort that you're doing, that's definitely part of it. Sure, but I want us to go a little bit further. Force times distance. Go for it. How much effort you put over a distance? Good. We're all on the right track. This is it. So it's force times distance. When we're saying work is force times distance, we're talking in terms of a what?
Push or pull.
Push or pull. We're also talking in terms of an equation. And yes, work is an equation. There's an equation for work. But we want to know what that actually means. So it means that you are moving something over a distance. Right?
Yeah.
So your answer was right, Nick. I'm pushing a little bit further. All right, the next one. What is a force? What is a force? Please go ahead.
A push or a pull.
Push or a pull. So it's that force piece of the force times distance. Last one, and this is the one where I want to give some creative answers because there wasn't necessarily one right answer. Read it for me. Nick, will you read the question for me?
When a rocket is shooting into the air, what is providing the force allowing this to happen?
Awesome. What is providing that force? Who has some good answers? Hayden?
The reaction of the rocket fuel burning creates thrust or force.
Great. Can you say it a little bit louder so everyone can hear you?
The reaction of the rocket fuel burning creates thrust or force.
Great. What do you have here? Something to add to that, Gail?
Fire.
The fire. Yeah. so you guys are saying the same thing. So there is something that is pushing. John, can you actually grab your things and move up here, please? Thank you. All right, so you've got things. You've got this rocket fuel that's pushing this rocket from the ground up into the sky. So that is actually an example of something that we're going to be talking about today, and you'll talk a lot more about later. And that is an example of, we're now jumping down to our notes, Newton's third law of motion. Does anyone know who Newton is? Who's Newton? Oh, we got some hands here. Who's Newton? In the back. What's that? Take your hand up.
Never mind.
Never mind. Okay, who's Newton? Go. He was a scientist. Does anyone know his full name? His full name? Nicholas?
Sir Isaac Newton.
Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton is a scientist, and he has a few different things going on. Yeah, go for it. He has a few different things going on. He's known for a lot of things. Most of them are related to physical science. And so physical science is some of the stuff that we're going to be jumping into. He's also known very famously for 3 different laws. 3 different laws. Newton's first law, second law, third law. Can we read them? An object in motion stays in motion. There's more to that.
Unless an object is stopped.
You're close. You almost have it. An object in motion stays in motion unless and it stops or destroys it. We're on the right track, Hayden? Unless it acted on by something else. Great. That's the first one. What do you got, Nick?
What goes up must come down.
What goes up must come down.
When the apple fell on his head, you can't tell me this.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. What is that?
Gravity.
Gravity. Great. All right. So we're not going to go into all 3 of them now. I want to, but we're not going to. We're just going to talk about the third, Newton's third law today. Does anyone know what Newton's third law is? Yes, sir. Energy cannot be destroyed. That's not it. That's not it. Not it. Bring it back. Anyone know what Newton's third law is? All right, Newton's third law, and I want you to write this down as I say it, so I'll repeat it a few times. Newton's law, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. We should be writing this down. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So before I dive too heavily into that, does anyone just give a shot about what they think that might mean? What that might mean. I see Nick. I do see. I want to see if we got more. We got Nick, we got Hayden. Rachel, you want to try?
When I think of that, I think of like when it's snowing on the hill, and like if somebody push you and it's snow on the hill, you're gonna slide.
Okay. I really love your answer there, but I want to push you a little bit further. Let's say someone pushes you. Let's say you push the snow on the hill. Does the snow push back on you?
No.
Nope.
It goes forward.
But if you push it on the snow, do you go back a little bit?
Yeah.
Nope. Wait.
That's because I'm bouncing off.
You're bouncing off. So you're giving force in that direction. The snow's giving a little bit of force in that direction. Don't push him, but that's a good example.
I'm still.
All right, so for every action, so one of the ways that they explain this a lot is, let's say I'm standing here on a skateboard, and there's someone standing on a skateboard right there. So there's 2 of us standing on skateboards. I don't have a skateboard, sorry. But if I push this person, then what am I going to do?
You're gonna bounce off.
We're both going to go in opposite directions. So every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Yes, ma'am?
Is it like people have in their office a little belt or little like marbles they be like hitting?
So that's an energy transfer that's going on there. It's similar, but it's a little bit different. You're not wrong, but there's a little bit more going on there. Yeah. Yep. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is we're actually going to be able to do that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. When we're talking about rockets being pushed off of the ground, when the rocket is pushing off of the ground, What is the ground? What is happening in the other direction?
It's going up.
The rocket's pushing up.
Oh, can we yell it out?
What's that?
Can we yell it out? I mean,
Sure, go for it, Dave.
Because
Ground goes
air or rocket fuel is being pushed down for it to go up.
And so you have that equal and opposite reaction going on. So what I want you to do is I want you to take about 30 seconds and draw an example of Newton's third law. It doesn't have to be that example. I've given you 2 or 3. If you can think about another one, do it. But take 30 to 45 seconds. We don't have to be Picasso here to do the best we can. Sorry. All right, can someone tell me, if they drew something different than what we were talking about, can someone tell me what it is they drew? Something different than what we've already talked about. Okay, you can go.
Like all rubber band, and when you shot it, it's pushing against the air, and the air pushes back.
Great. Who else has got one? Nick, you got one?
You give a high five. You're hitting the person's hand.
Yep. Do you feel that? When you give a high five, do you feel that on your hand? So that's the opposite force. Absolutely. Yep. That's your go.
I said if you throw a balloon on someone's hair,
So the balloon goes out. What does your hair do?
The air frees up.
It blows up a little bit. Yeah, go, sir.
One of them's like race or whatever. I just thought something. It was like someone gets over the other person hit the background. This way.
Okay, so that's a little bit different. That's when we're talking about emotions and human activity there, that's not the same as Newton's law. I hear where you're going there, but that's a little bit different. All right, I want everyone to turn their page to the next page. Yep. All right, so what we have in front of us right now is we have the lab and the activity that we're going to be doing today. Can I get a volunteer to read the background? Sir, in the back, really loud, please.
A rocket's movement depends on Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. When a rocket blows out gas,
Get over it, move on.
one direction, acting force. The rocket is pushed in the opposite direction, reaction force. In other words, when there is a force on one thing in one direction, another force is acting on someone else in another direction. The gas pushes against the rocket, and the rocket pushes back just as hard against the gas.
Great, so this is what we just talked about, the whole Newton's third law piece. We've got the rocket pushing down against the ground, and the ground is pushing right back up. That's how the rocket is able to go so high. All right, objective. Can I get someone to read objective for me? Someone I haven't heard from. No. Go for it.
To have a balloon travel over a measured distance in the shortest possible time, the balloon will have to be attached to a soda straw. The soda straw will have a lip of a string running through it. The bottle will have to travel around the length of a fishing line or thread after being filled with air. And the air is then being allowed to descend. Sometimes you must come up with a way for your balloon to travel from start to finish the quickest way possible using the pressure of the air inside it to propel its forward. You may also modify the balloon using the materialistic.
Great. Thank you both. All right, so what we're going to be doing today is you see around the class, around the room from your previous classes, we're going to be making some balloon rockets. And so what's going to actually happen with our balloon rockets is when we discuss this, when I let a balloon out, what happens to the thing? Where's the balloon going to go?
That way.
It's going to go that way.
It is no comeback.
The air goes that way.
Air goes goes that way. So we've got the equal and opposite reaction in the opposite directions, right? Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to be putting air into balloons, and we're going to be creative because we've got the holidays coming up, and we're actually going to do sleighs. So we're going to put air into our balloon sleighs, and we are going to be releasing them. And so what's going to happen is we want our balloon to move faster than anyone else's. That's the goal. Okay? And so in order for us to do that, we've got a few different components going on. But anytime you do lab, anytime you do an activity, you have to have a few different pieces of that lab and activity. And so this first piece that we have is a problem. Can I get a volunteer to read our problem for us? Really loud. Really loud. Maria, go ahead.
For example, for the gases and obvious gases, write your hypothesis on what you will make the best on what will make the best desired below before you begin the experiment.
Great. So we've got a problem. And our problem is what? Can someone repeat it to me? What's our problem? You said it right there. You don't have to give me the whole thing. What's the beginning of it?
What design would produce the fastest?
Okay, what design is going to make the fastest balloon? So we have to come up with a hypothesis. Can someone tell me, how do we write a hypothesis? I know you've learned this hundreds of times. You ought to go.
If, but, then.
If, then. So if I do this, then this will happen. Because, you're right. So what is the reason that that'll happen? So I want all of you to think about what should be your hypothesis. If this, and this usually, this first thing becomes what? What is that called also? Starts with an I?
Idea, topic, intro?
No.
Everything.
If, independent variable.
Oh, yeah.
Which is even changing.
I didn't think about that.
So take about a minute, and I want you to write a hypothesis that relates to that problem. A lot of similar hypotheses. You have another 20 seconds. All right, who needs another 30 seconds? Okay, 30 more seconds.
What time is it?
I'm not sure. All right. So now, does anyone want to share their hypothesis? You don't have to. Your hypothesis is yours. But would anyone like to share? Go for it.
Yeah, if I was not a lot of air, not a little air, that probably goes to go off.
So if you think if you don't put that much in there, it's going to go really far. Is that what I heard? Cool. Who has another one? Who has a different hypothesis? Sarah, go ahead. Really loud. You want to go? Cool. Aiden? Okay. So you're talking, the independent variable you're talking about is less about the amount of air and instead what? But what is the thing that you're changing? friction and changing the, what's the first thing you said, your independent variable? The shape, exactly. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to start this project and we're going to dive in as soon as I find the stuff. So the beginning of this and where we're going to start with this is we are going to make our slaves. I'm going to tell you right now that this is the expectations that we have as we dive into this. We need to get these slaves and these balloons made today. If we don't get them made today, then you are not going to use them tomorrow. But the long and short of it is what's going to happen is you are going to have a balloon. You're going to be taping a balloon onto that sleigh, and on that sleigh, on that balloon, you're going to be putting I need one that's done. You're going to be putting a straw, and you're going to use that straw on your balloon, and then you're going to clip the end of the balloon, and when you release the end of the balloon, what do you think will happen?
It's gonna fly.
It's going to fly. We got two of them going on, and we're going to be racing the other people. All right, so that's the goal today. We're going to be racing someone with our balloon and see who's going to go the fastest.
I hope they don't pop.
They might pop. And so some of the things that we need to think about as we move on, we don't want them to pop, they might, is that we want to make sure that we're not overflating our balloons. If we overflate our balloons, then we are not going to get another balloon. So let's make sure we're thinking a lot about that and not making those choices. If we are lollygagging and not making wise choices as we do the beginning of this activity and we don't get it done, then we're not going to be able to move on to the rest. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make our slaves. And then we're going to, I'm sorry, I lost some people in the back. We're going to make our slaves, make them creative. We'll take about 8 minutes to color our slaves. And you've got the resources around, and then you need to cut them out. After you've done that, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to select our balloons, and we'll blow them up. Now, we're not going to shoot them today. We're going to clip them. But we're going to get them ready for that next step. So what is the first thing that we're doing? Can someone raise their hand and tell me? Yes, ma'am? You're going to color your slave, right? And what's the second thing that we're going to do? After we color it, we're going to, before that, color it, then
Tape it.
oh, I'm still missing something. Got to cut it out. After we've colored it, to cut it out, I know I wasn't that clear. Color it, cut it out, then we're going, I'm sorry, Nick, you're still grabbing things you're not supposed to be doing, sir? Next thing.
Green.
Then,
Blow up the balloon.
blow the balloon,
And then clip it.
flip it,
Then tape it.
tape it. Last one. What's the next thing? In order for that to slide on that string, what does it need?
Friction.
Straw.
Straw.
A straw. Alright, so I'm going to pass out these things to you all right now, so you can go ahead and get started. You know the expectations when you're in here. Let's make sure that we're not running around. Let's make sure that we're staying on task. Yes, we all know we want to make sure we get the right colors.
Bring this to my plate. You have to color it. Bring this to my plate.
Grabbing things, man. Wait,
She's never going to do it again. Give me 1 second. Miss Musgrove, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Thank you. Yes, you gotta cover both from the two sides of your sled.
Where's my plate?
If I didn't give you one, this one right. My bad. Okay? That's around the table.
I'll just take this one.
There you go.
Starting.
Yes.
I still heard you my mama said, like, I couldn't, because, like, I can't have another Christmas. We gotta try.
This isn't a Christmas sleigh. This is a holiday sleigh.
Holiday sleigh.
Holiday sleigh. Yes. Joanna, I need you to see. Bring it with you. You need it. Hold on, Romy. Most of them are very similar. Later we get you guys set up.
That's right.
Drive an issue. Just sitting here as long as you stay on task, okay?
Everybody knows who was
Right in front of you.
not mine.
Okay, I will get you one. Sit down. Alright, from this point forward, I need everyone to get seated and stay seated and get started. There's too much running around happening. A little bit of chaos. Thinking ahead.